Thank you, Madam Moderator. Dr. Green, after that discussion, I wonder how many of us are going to eat what has been presented to us in those boxes. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy International Women's Day to you all. I wish to thank the organizers of this forum for inviting me to share with you some thoughts about this very important issue of maintaining decorum in public office. It's directed This issue is important for both men and women, so I'm not specifically speaking to women. Now, it's also a very timely issue, particularly because of what we have been observing in what we would consider our highest public office, our National Assembly. This has caused some raging public discourse lately. Now, decorum may generally be defined as appropriateness and propriety of behavior, conduct, civility, and general appearance. Now, in what we consider public office, particularly the legislative environment, the emphasis may be on proper order, etiquette, and overall conduct. It should be noted that behavior in the home is very different from what should be observed in the official environment. In public office, it's important to ensure that the highest moral and ethical standards are maintained to achieve trust, respect, and confidence among colleagues. Rules of decorum should therefore be established. That is, a code of conduct should be developed, or a charter or employment contract. And all of these should detail the expected behavior. If persons conduct themselves in a manner that elicits respect, others will follow them willingly, and objectives of the organization will be more easily achieved. Decorum is not limited to the more obvious behavioral patterns, such as speech and dress, but public officials should also know what is expected of them in key legal areas, such as harassment, discrimination, and retaliation, as well as ethics and conflict of interest. In this regard, there should be mandated harassment prevention and ethics training for all relevant officials. A full understanding of these key concepts will help ensure that persons in public office have a proper foundation for engaging in ethical and professional behavior. Codes of conduct and ethics help officials to execute their responsibilities and functions appropriately. For example, there's a code already established for behavior in the National Assembly of the Parliament. Now, one would not believe so if we've been following what has been happening recently. All members of Parliament should therefore ensure that they acquaint themselves fully with these rules that exist. A key concept that needs emphasis is that of civility. Civility goes beyond the law and is more than just good manners. It is the core of mutual respect and is required that at all times officials speak in a manner that is respectful, responsible, and avoids rude, demeaning, or bullying conduct or statements. There must be respect for certain rules of behavior, the absence of which would result in disharmony and chaos. Most importantly, public officials should refrain from the use of profanity, emotional outbursts, personal attacks, or any speech or conduct that tends to reduce the standing of the organization of which they are a part. Adherence to these rules allows officials to gain attention and respect from society. There should be commitment on the part of each public official to respectful behavior towards each other. Officials should be continuously educated on appropriate roles and regularly reminded about what is expected of them in key areas. Ultimately, this will help them to work more effectively to implement and adhere to a code of conduct and ethics that helps to maintain the desired civility and decorum in public office. Public officials who wish to inspire and lead must demonstrate decorum, particularly in this information-rich age, which demands that individuals in public office communicate effectively. This is an essential credential for public officials, who must at all times demonstrate respect to certain rules of behavior and at all times be cognizant of the need to maintain the respect and trust of the people being served, that is, the public. These officials need to promote an atmosphere where it is readily recognized that there is adherence to appropriate standards of decorum. This behavior must be practiced unceasingly. Media coverage, which is live streaming now, that is the order of the day, has placed a spotlight on the need for civility and decorum. Persons in public office should therefore be aware that they must set the tone, tenor, and pattern of behavior that citizens may look to emulate. In closing, as we take this opportunity to celebrate International Women's Day, we must examine issues that affect women's development and well-being. It is, however, my contention that, unfortunately, women are often held to a higher standard in relation to issues of decorum, while at the same time often having to bear the brunt of the breaches of decorum and ethical behavior. All should be held to the same high standards, and there should be consequences for breaches equally applied. Thank you.